Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About Clutter. I'm your host, Margo, a professional organizer specializing in chronic clutter. Have you ever stood in the middle of a cluttered room and thought, I don't even know where to start? That overwhelmed, frozen feeling, you're not alone. It happens to so many women, especially if clutter has built up for years, as it has for many of us. But here's something I want you to hold on to. Emotion follows motion. You don't need to feel motivated to start. You need to start to feel motivated. And this is the mistake that a lot of us make in our thinking. We are waiting for motivation to strike to get started. But motivation is super unreliable. Every time you take action, even the smallest action, you create momentum. And with that momentum comes confidence, pride, relief, and most importantly, empowerment, specifically empowerment to continue. It's interesting because you're probably thinking like, oh my goodness, but I feel decluttering paralysis, Margo. I don't know where to start. Don't even think about it. Do not even think about it, okay? Just walk over to any item, pick it up, and trash it. Yes, it's that easy. So in today's episode, I want to walk you through how to get started, how to build confidence in decluttering through small wins. So let's say your goal is to declutter your kitchen, right? I feel like that is probably the number one, I call them eye twitch areas. Like it's just oh my God, it's a pain in the butt, right? The kitchen. It's just, you're in that kitchen every single day, multiple times a day, and your eye is constantly twitching, right? Between the table, maybe the pantry, of course, the kitchen countertop. So let's say that's your goal, right? You want to start in your kitchen. So it feels huge, right? And this is the problem. This is what kind of causes decluttering paralysis. And even if you were motivated, like you woke up and it's a Saturday morning and you're like, oh, I have a little time on my plate. You walk into your kitchen, right? The motivation is maybe high and you're like, I'm going to declutter. But you walk into that kitchen and you see all the stuff piled up everywhere and like motivation completely plummets. Trust me, I have been there myself. And the key here is to change your thinking. Don't think, I'm going to start with the kitchen. Instead, be like, I'm going to start with a drawer, or I'm going to start with a cabinet, or I'm going to maybe just simply start with a shelf in the cabinet or the refrigerator, right? So even if we're thinking, for example, the pantry, right? Just grab 5 items that are expired or you'll never use, right? When you open up your pantry, there are going to be things that you see in there that you're like, why do I have this? I've had this in my pantry for like the last 3 years. Nobody eats it. Is it even still good? So again, it's kind of thinking small as opposed to thinking big. Again, don't tackle every cabinet. Just choose one shelf, right? You walk into the kitchen and you're like, I'm going to declutter a shelf. So it's really about kind of your intention for the space. Typically, when we think of big picture, and if you are somebody who has been accruing, clutter for the last 10, 15, 20, 30 years, when you go into something and you're like, I'm going to do an entire closet or the bedroom or the bathroom, I'm like, even if you've had motivation, you're going to be like, not today. That's my daughter's favorite line lately. She's 10 years old and like her motto is not today. But what happens is motivation follows action. It follows motion. So when you begin with that one drawer or a handful of pantry items, you're going to feel confident. Not only that, you're going to feel motivated. And even once you start doing this on a daily basis or how frequently you can, you're going to almost become addicted to the result. And that's going to propel you to want to do more and more. So that is how you start. So let me tell you a quick story. This spring, I worked with a client, let's call her Jen for confidentiality purposes. She had been avoiding her kitchen for the longest time, not because she didn't want to declutter, but because just thinking about it sent her into overwhelm, sent her into decluttering paralysis. Now, Jen, on top of everything, also suffers from ADHD. And like many women I work with, she struggles with focus and felt paralyzed when the tasks seemed too big and distractions were very, very real. So instead of trying to tackle it all at once, I asked her to commit to just 5 minutes a day. She took a picture of her kitchen and we broke the kitchen down into smaller bite-sized tasks. Upper cabinet, 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. Lower cabinets, drawer 1, drawer 2, drawer 3, kitchen table, chairs, stove, fridge, etc. Okay, you get the picture. And by the way, you could do this too. You can also, if you feel overwhelmed in, let's say, your kitchen, because we're using that as an example, go in, don't even do anything. But first, take a picture of your kitchen, and then you can essentially even take out your smartphone and hit the edit option, right? And hit the marker or whatever that thing is, and just circle all the different individualized spaces of that kitchen. I always, and I do mean always, encourage women to write down a list. This makes the decision of what to declutter much clearer and eliminates the dreaded decision fatigue and decluttering paralysis. Also, if you suffer from ADHD and have a day where the fog kind of lifts and you are laser focused, you then know exactly what to do. Section by section, week by week, Jen purged her kitchen. She was able to declutter her kitchen in 6 weeks. This was 15 years of clutter gone. Now, keeping it real, because she did have ADHD. There were some days where she was very eager to get things done. There were some days where she felt very, very distracted. She would find an item that belonged maybe somewhere else. She would take the item, she would put it somewhere else. She would get distracted. She would start doing something, let's say in the bathroom or the bedroom. So again, we also want to be very gentle with ourselves and we want to be kind with ourselves. And if you do have a mental health condition, I myself suffer from anxiety, I always encourage women to work with their mental health condition, not against it. So for example, if again, with ADHD, if the fog lifts and you're like very, very clear headed, right, and you feel motivated and you feel confident, then maybe you have the luxury to do not 5 minutes, but 10 or 15 or 30, or maybe you're going to go like all in for an hour. Kind of seize the opportunity when you have that energy and focus and desire and productivity levels are higher to do more. But again, decision fatigue is very, very real with folks who have ADHD. And even if you don't have ADHD, decision fatigue is real. We're constantly being bombarded with, you got to do this and you got to do food shopping. And if you have kids, there's responsibilities and homework, blah, 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 blah. Like there are all these things constantly coming at us. So it's very difficult at times to stay focused. But if you take a photo, for example, of a space and then make a list of all the different designated areas, the decision fatigue is no longer there. You look at your list, whether it's in your phone or on paper, and you're like, okay, cool. I'm up to drawer number 2, or I'm up to, shelf 1 in my pantry. The other thing with ADHD, which is very, very effective, is to also like step by step break it down. I know sometimes it could be difficult to like, okay, what do I do with the items? What are the categories, right? So like, for example, keep, donate, trash, like kind of like a step by step of what you're doing with the items as you declutter, or maybe what are some things that where decision making is easier. Like, how do I know if I keep something or I don't or I toss something? Maybe, you decide that, look, if I haven't used this item, like a lot of people say, if I haven't used this item in a year, right? That's a question I ask myself when I'm feeling undecided, then I let it go, right? Whatever works for you. The other thing, if you do suffer from ADHD, and again, it doesn't even have to be ADHD, but for example, one of the things that really was effective with Jen is having her husband, when she was decluttering, body double for her. And what that means is he was simply in the kitchen with her as she was decluttering to kind of, if she would get distracted, he would kind of be like, no, we're still working on this, right? The mere presence of having another person with you, right? It'll actually keep you more focused. So after 6 weeks, Jen could not believe it. She was super excited. And I remember she had messaged me and she was like, Margo, oh my God, I'm standing in the doorway of my kitchen and I'm just staring at it and I'm in disbelief of this was so much easier than I anticipated it to be. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing. She was so happy and so proud of herself. And again, felt confident. And this is where the motivation kicked in, right? Because she was able to complete a project in 6 weeks. She was like, if I can do the kitchen, I can do the closet and I can do the bedroom and I can do the living room. And again, this is where motivation kicked in, right? Again, motivation follows action, follows motion. So I encourage you to get started. So here are a few easy ways to make this work for you. I am an absolute lover of setting timers. I think it's incredibly effective. So setting a timer for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, and then just select whatever it is, just one drawer, one shelf, one corner. And when the timer goes off, you are done. Obviously, if you want to keep going, great, but you don't have to. It's such an incredible feeling where like you set a goal and you're like, I have 10 minutes, which is totally doable, right? And the alarm goes off and you're like, oh my God, like check, check, check. Like it's amazing. The other tip is use the next smallest thing method. So don't ask, what's everything I need to do? Ask, what's the next smallest thing on my list I can do right now? And then do that. This is why it's so incredibly useful to take a picture, make a list, and work off of the list. That list is essentially a running list of micro goals. So you're making a checklist like spices, silverware drawer, mugs, pantry, Tupperware. Like you can break it down as small as you need to. If you're somebody that can work with like just writing cabinets or upper cabinets, fantastic. But for some people, breaking it down into even smaller sections is even more doable and feels so much less overwhelming. And the final, like super important thing that it's not done as often as it should be. And this is something that I do. This is one of the beauties of having an accountability partner. So I'm a decluttering coach and I work with hundreds of women. And the thing that I always do with every single one of my clients, and you should do this for yourself and with your loved one, is to celebrate immediately. When you complete something, no matter how small, take a photo, do a happy dance, text a friend, right? Let the good energy sink in. That is positive reinforcement. The truth is, you're not just decluttering your home. You're rebuilding your trust in yourself. Each tiny step proves you can do this. You are doing this. So the next time you feel paralyzed by the big picture, come back to this truth. Emotion follows motion. Start small, build confidence, and keep going. Thank you so much for listening. As always, good luck on your decluttering journey, and remember to be good to yourself.